So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
Ladies, gentlemen, Trandoshans of a bitey age, welcome to Hell of a Pilot Episode 6. As always, I am your intoxicating and intoxicated host, Owen Cross. And with me, of course, the man who has recently been taken out for a test drive, a test flight, Mike Marriott. Mike Marriott, how does it feel to have a man inside you?
Defenders don't have a crew slot, Owen.
You've caught me out there.
Of course.
It feels well. It feels good. It fits like a glove, I guess.
Oh. This is a Valentine special for everyone who doesn't know. Lachlan. He is with me as well. He has been known by many names. Voice of a Nation. The Golden Voice. Personally, he's been called the Cute Voice. Yeah, Lachlan, you're here too.
I am. Yeah, my voice and I just hanging out, being cute, being the cute part of the team. You know, I have a lot to offer as well. I have a personality, but no, nobody cares.
They just want you for your voice.
Yeah.
Typical listeners. And today, as a special treat, we have with us Seductress of Spaceships, the Dominatrix of Dice,
Oh my.
Emily Myers. How are you today, Emily?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Wonderful. Glad to have you on the show. I
don't think I've ever been called that before.
I like that says a lot about Owen. I think that about 5 seconds before we started recording, he was like, "I'll think of an introduction. That's fine." Then, Dominatrix.
Is this like Valentine's special or 50 Shades of X-Wing?
Yeah. 50 Shades of Grey Squadron pilot.
Oh wow.
Okay, before we go too deep down that very
rabbit hole, let's stop there.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
Mike,
Yes?
it's been a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Tell me, how many spaceships have you flown?
Not too many, but I had some great games last night with the brand new Batwing, the Upsilon shuttle, which I'm really enjoying. And I finally dusted off my defenders, and Countess Ryad was very happy to be reunited with me.
Great. And you, Lachlan?
I actually haven't had a game for a couple of weeks, which makes me very sad. So since I don't have any information of my own to share, I'm just going to read out a personal message that our good friend Nick Henley sent us at the Hell of a Pilot Facebook page the other week. He heard us mention in a previous show we wanted his thoughts on the Epsilon shuttle, which means that not only was he a guest with us once, he's continued listening. So thanks heaps, Nick. You didn't have to do that. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nick.
So Nick said that the reason we asked him was because he told us when we spoke to him that he always used the Lambda aggressively in his Palp shuttle build. So we thought, here's the Epsilon shuttle. That's an aggressive shuttle. How does he feel about that? So he was telling us that it's aggressive support because it's got the 4 attack dice. You know, it can be overwhelmed because it doesn't have, you know, heaps of tight maneuverability. But obviously, it's quite a powerful ship. So if you can restrict yourself to maybe mid-tier aces rather than higher up aces, you can be a bit more aggressive in your support, particularly because of the coordinate action. So it's a powerful ship, but
it hits hard.
I mean, 4 attack dice. Come on.
Yeah, it hurts.
But even in his message, he referred to it as the Batmobile, and you know, Mike's calling it the Batwing. It's like I just see it as Batman somehow, like, yeah.
Emily,
Yeah.
played any games recently?
I actually haven't. I've got to say, the last time I played was when we got the starter again, and I was in Canada, and I was like, why not? Let's just play this.
That's pretty
Instead of
cool. You're
playing it,
overseas
so-
and you picked up a starter kit.
Yep.
There you go, our first international guest, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I was like, TIE fighters all the way.
Yay!
Bring back TIE Swarm.
Yeah.
Flying Imperial, huh?
Oh,
Yep.
Horrible, horrible.
No. The Empire, we're making the galaxy safe again, so I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So I've recently come back from the ACT regionals, which was lots of fun. Went up there with some close mates and had our wonderful podcast off, Hadley Spencer and myself. And we both decided, in the spirit of podcastiness, that we would not run our ace tier list, the one that we were going to take the next day. We were just going to run Jank. And he iconically ran the 4 Kirax fighters, and every time he shot down one of my ships would yell Kirax across the table. I told him to stop swearing. It was offending me. And I ran my list of Paylob, Talonbane Cobra, and Fenrau, which was a list I spoke about earlier, which was an idea was to lock down a ship and say, you don't play this game, and
Yes.
if they were down one ship and I'm also up one ship. It was a good game. It was incredibly tight. By about the 5th or 6th round in, I thought I had it in the bag. I just 100% thought I had it in the bag. Got sloppy, made some bad judgments, and came down to my Fenrau on 1 health and his last fighter, his Kirax PS5 fighter on 1 health.
Were they all generic?
They were all generics.
Never heard of anyone doing that.
Yeah.
He's renowned for doing that. He loves the Kirax.
He loves
Okay.
it. He
Yeah.
really does.
Yeah.
He really will yell Kirax. At a national event, yell Kirax. It's a thing.
That's a thing.
It is a thing. And so I was just lucky that we both had a range 1 shot at each other, and my Fenrau shoots first, and I'm Fenrau, so I killed him. So score 1 to Hell of a Pilot.
Yay.
And we all discussed afterwards how Jar Jar Binks is definitely the best character in Star Wars.
Does he have to record that so we can put that in the show?
I think he does.
Yeah.
I think he does. We decided. For the rest of the day, he was extolling the virtues of Jar Jar Binks.
So I can't even hear this even as a joke. Like oh man, Jar Jar Binks is not a good character.
Mike, what do we have on the show for us today?
Right, today, HoloNet News, we are going to talk about what's hot and fashionable in X-Wing, what is happening in the meta across the world. We've done a little bit of statistical analysis and we'll offer our opinion on that. In the lore section, we are going to talk about perhaps the hottest couple in X-Wing.
Oh.
Yes?
Mm.
Kanye West and Kim Kardashian started playing X-Wing.
No?
Yes.
Well, it's about time.
Dengar and Manaroo.
Yes.
She gets around. He doesn't.
I was saying to... Yeah, like, I just love the flavour of this romantic show that we're doing. But I was actually saying to Lockie on the way over here, we're talking about Manaroo, and my analogy was she's like the Taylor Swift of the X-Wing world because she's always trading up her boyfriend. She's gone.
She and Dengar are never, ever, ever getting back together.
No.
Vicious.
That's right.
I think we might have told Emily before she came on that we were funny, and that's a lie.
I'm hearing some laughter.
Thank
I
you.
think that works.
Yeah.
You're our best friend.
Whew.
Alright.
Anyway, and then we'll be going to the Cantina section.
Sick.
Yep. And moving on. And of course, we will be inviting Emily to talk about her experiences with X-Wing and give us her thoughts.
Sounds like fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if that's everything, it's on with the show.
Good evening, citizen. This is Holonet News. The struggle against disloyal rebels and assorted scum and villainy continue in both the inner and outer rim, and as always, though your empire may be winning, we need our citizens to do their part. Sign our flight systems, fill our skies with brand spanking new TIE fighters, interceptors, and bombers every minute of every day, providing the sinews of safety and muscles of war that an embattled populace needs if peace is to survive. But these noble craft need pilots, and we're looking at you! Try spending an afternoon at your local recruiting office, hear a few stories of adventure and heroism, maybe even join up and serve your Emperor in the Galactic Navy. You even earn a few extra credits in your pay packet if you sign up a buddy, so don't go alone! Meanwhile, the clandestine Rebel Alliance have been driven further underground after the tragic murder of Governor Tarkin aboard the Imperial Peace Sphere near Yavin 4. It was the size of a small moon, and so was his heart. If you miss him like we all do, join up today. Do you have the knack for spotting rebels or rebel activity? You might have what it takes to be an Imperial spy. For every rebel spy, the Emperor wants to have 2 of his own, so inquire after this broadcast. Finally this hour, a general warning about bounty hunter duo Dengar and Manaroo, known in some circles as Dengaroo. Though not technically guilty of anything, these 2 guns for hire are to be considered armed and dangerous, so stay away. As well as violent yet skilled mercenary pilots, these 2 unscrupulous types are rumored to be romantically involved. Think dodging blaster fire in exotic locales and making deals with mysterious criminals is romantic? Ha! Not as romantic as waving to your best guy or gal out from orbit while you're on the command deck of a Star Destroyer. So remember, men and women of the Empire, we need you! This has been Holonet News.
The Peace Sphere, Lachlan. The Peace Sphere. When people see that orbiting overhead, they're like, I'm so safe!
The sphere is so peaceful. It has no pointy edges. A sphere is the most peaceful shape.
Can I say that's no moon, that's a peace sphere.
That's a peace sphere.
Oh look, it's shooting rainbows.
And unicorns.
I was trying to think, like, what would the Empire try and tell its citizens it was building? Like, Death Star is going to get a few people offside.
And it's just so obvious.
Yeah.
So, we want to talk about the state of the meta. And I think this started originally with Mike and I speaking about just when you go to competitions, like very high-end, regionals, nationals, there seems to be archetypes. There are ships that are just better. Dengaroo a couple months ago. Now it's all defenders. But we have a new heir to the throne. Mike, what is it?
Paratani.
What? What's a parrot?
It's not a brightly coloured bird that people keep in cages.
What's an Arnie?
It's the governor of California.
Got it. Let's get some parrots, put it on Arnie.
And we have Parrot Arnie.
Alright, right. Take him to competitions.
Okay. So, I'll explain Paratani. In fact, most of our listeners may be familiar with it already. Essentially what we have is a scum faction squadron. We have Fenrau with a tiny mind link, the title, and auto thrusters. We have a really slimmed down Manaroo with a tiny. And we have the Lance Pursuit craft. Asajj is the pilot with Lats Razzie and a tiny mind link. And the 3 Atani gives it the most amazing action economy. It's like I've played against it, and it's literally raining focus tokens.
So how it works is that if someone takes a focus action, and in this case it would be Manaroo because she's the lowest PS. Often it'll be Manaroo. Everyone gets a focus. So that's really good synergy with everything. Everyone thought the downfall of that, however, was the fact that if one person takes a stress, they all take stress.
Oh dear, how terrible.
Oh no.
Oh no, the stress.
Not in a meta where stress doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you could, theoretically, you can, it's not a theory, Manaroo can take a focus, Fenrau will have a focus, now do a red maneuver, take a stress, still have the focus, and now be stressed. And now all it takes is him to clear the stress in his next turn, which he'll probably easily do, and he's fine. But that's not all, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh no, wait, there's more.
Oh wait, there's more. Manaroo has more tricks up her sleeve. At the start of the combat phase, she may move all of her tokens, including red target locks.
Oh.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, red or blue target lock?
All of them, red target locks.
Oh,
she can't be target locked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what?
Yeah. to a friendly person.
Anywhere on the board.
Anywhere on the board. There's no range on this. There's anywhere on the board. Everyone can take all of her target locks, all of her focuses. And you think to yourself, oh, okay, well now she's naked. No. A tiny mind link says when acquiring, not taking an action, when acquiring a focus, everyone else who has a tiny mind link also takes a focus. So she has now 0 focuses because she's passed them off to someone else. That person has now gained a focus, so she will in turn gain a focus.
Mm-hmm.
So
She just has focus always.
yes.
Perpetually focused.
As soon as she takes a focus, she just has focus.
Yes.
Oh, man.
So this is, in theory, this is a pretty normal thing to do. Fenrir rolls up into range 1 and says, everyone else is focused, so he's already focused rolling up into range 1. He takes a focus, so he now has 2 focuses. At the start of the combat phase, she gives him a 3rd focus, and she has one herself. So he's rolling up into range 1 with 3 focuses.
And sometimes with the target lock.
And with the target lock, if someone else wanted to be a bit, the third option could be, Manaroo can show up, take a target lock. The next person, being a Sarge, can just fly around the board doing whatever she wants, take a focus. Everyone's focused. Fenrir comes up with the focus, as we said before, takes a focus, and then Manaroo gives him both the focus and the target lock. So
This is why scum makes me cry.
it's scummy.
Oh.
I see what you did there.
Now, to give you an idea of just how... Okay, so that's half the list. That was the bread and butter. But there was a missing link. So we had Fenrir, we had Manaroo, and that was really, really, really strong. What people have come up with is a Lancercraft pursuit vehicle. What? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lancer class.
Lancer class pursuit craft.
Mm.
That's hard to say.
Pancake. Just say pancake.
The pancake.
Mm-hmm.
The Star Trek ship.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't exist. What I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Well, we're crossing IP and yeah.
How you doing there, buddy? You alright? Alright.
No, everyone says that like it looks like a Star Trek ship.
It does.
I've never watched Star
The
Trek.
Defiant. So it's from...
Really?
So...
Huh. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to come out and say not only am I a Star Wars fan, I also like Star Trek.
Get
No,
out.
I watched Voyager.
Voyager was okay, but no, there was Defiant in there, which was like a sort of combative ship.
Oh, so it actually looks like a...
It actually really looks like it.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm not insane.
Mm-hmm.
So the hole that they filled was with Asajj Ventress. Asajj says if you're in her mobile firing arc, she can give you a stress. Now, with that, you also take Razi that says if someone attacks you and they are stressed, you can take away one of their stress
To get an evade, yeah.
to get an evade. So she'll roll up, and if she wants to be defensive, she'll take an evade. So someone attacks you, you're mitigating 2 damage per turn with her. She has 10 hull. It takes a lot to get through. So she just eats damage. Just eats it. There's not much more to it. It's very simplistic and elegant. It's very slimmed down. There's not too much playing around with like the Dengaroo build that we saw before. But it works.
I have to say, it's one of my favourite squadrons at the moment. I've only flown it a couple times just to get a feel for it. But I think it's incredibly well balanced. It's a squadron with not too many weaknesses.
When we say well balanced, we don't mean it's balanced in the game.
No. It's balanced in the sense that you've got a real offensive ship in the form of Fenrir throwing the 2,000 red dice that he does.
Oh yeah. You have a 2-handed red dice. It's amazing.
Yeah. You've got... And the Lancer, now the Lancer, I think, is the great unsung hero of the recent releases because we've done a little bit of statistical analysis. It's turned out to be one of the most popular scum ships, and not just because of Paratini, but it also pairs well with things like the YV666 with Bosk. It's paired well with a couple of TLT Y-Wings. Mm-hmm. And it pairs well with Dengar and the Jump Master.
Pairs well with itself.
You see it with a Y-wing, you see it with all kinds of stuff. In fact, you know what's actually people are now flying? Manaroo with a heavy laser. And it's doing well with an Atani Mind Link.
Derby took that to Tasmanian regionals to win it.
Yeah.
That makes 3, ladies and gentlemen. 3! 3 for Victoria. So, aside from the Paratani list, which is, I just want to point out, this has a win rate of 50%, 50.16%. You are more likely to win with this than lose. It doesn't matter, even if you, including coming up against itself. Yeah. You're statistically more likely to win than lose.
And so those stats are coming from X-Wing Meta Analyzer, which is pulling data from List Juggler. For those of you who don't know, List Juggler is the repository of results for store champions and regionals and all the rest of it. So there's some hard data supporting this. Paratani, or the Atani Mind Link, is possibly one of the most popular builds in X-Wing everywhere across the world. It's in the last 2 or 3 months, it's become that thing. It's the new hotness.
Taking over from the new hotness, my least favourite of all squadrons, Triple Defenders. Oh God, burn. Just burn. Oh. They're really good. They're really, really good.
This is not news.
Look, and going back to the sort of the state of the meta, I'm an Imperial player. I think, Emily, you sort of mentioned that you sort of like the Imperial as well.
Yeah.
As an Imperial player, we've got one of the best ships in the game.
The TIE Defender.
TIE Defender.
That's one you should look out for.
Yeah. If you're playing somebody and you see that little triple wing monster across you, then you know you've got a little bit of a challenge. Yeah, well, you can run, but you can't hide.
Bit of trivia. Triple Wing Monster was nearly the name of this podcast, but we went with Hell of a Pilot.
Yeah. We figured that, going up, turning around, and not being stressed at all was just not a thing we wanted to do.
But look, we have one of the best ships in the game, but the flip side, or the downside, is that everything else that I used to fly with, things like TIE fighters, interceptors, bombers. Well, actually, no, I didn't fly bombers. Nobody did. But
I did.
You did. You tried.
I love bombers.
Just aren't competitive anymore. You just looking at the recent statistics, the last couple of months of competition results. The TIE fighter's pretty much dead. The interceptor is kind of dead. We're not seeing Suntir Fel anymore, which makes me have a sad face.
Yeah.
I feel like 6 months or a year ago, when Suntir Fel was all the hotness, I would be like, "Die, Suntir! Just die!" Now I really wish he was back.
Yeah, and I was talking to Lockie about this. One of the things as an Imperial player, I feel that it's changed in that initially the Imperials were a squad of high-risk, high-reward aces.
Yeah.
Precision flying mattered.
Yeah.
You had to be pointing the right direction.
You had to point the right direction.
Because the Imperials, except for the Decimator, no turrets.
No turrets.
Yeah.
We've only got one turret.
No shields.
No shields. Yeah, and a lot of our ships didn't have shields, so when things went wrong, they went horribly wrong, but when things went well, my God, they went well. But that's now changed to the point now where it's point, shoot, K-turn, point, shoot, K-turn. And look, I love my defenders, don't get me wrong, but I feel as though I'm lacking a little bit of diversity in my choices if I'm going to play quote-unquote competitively.
See, I would argue that a 3-defender list is still stronger than Paratani statistically wise, just being able to almost continuously evade. As long as they went fully defensive, there is nothing that a Paratani could do that it couldn't do better. However, what it doesn't have is it doesn't have the maneuverability.
No.
A defender does not like to hard turn.
No.
So
a defender does not have to hard turn?
Exactly.
It's a red hard.
But you see, the Lancer Craft Pursuit thing,
whatever it is,
it can shoot backwards.
Yeah.
So it can turn, shoot backwards, and then it doesn't matter if you K-turn, it's shooting behind you. So it can just kite.
But you've also the what's happening with the Paratani is Asajj is giving out stress, which more often than not is going to lock down your defender as well. So, look, Paratani is such a strong squad. It's got amazing action economy, but also it's just really good at countering a lot of other stuff in the meta.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like an all-rounder squad.
Well, let's think about what we were talking about before with expertise. Being able to turn all of your hits to all of your focuses to hits, as long as you're not stressed. She gives you the stress, so it cancels that, and then after all the damage is done, she then takes the stress away. So it's like, well, expertise is now.
Yeah, it robs you of your 4 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have that on multiple ships, that's 8 points. That's heaps. That's loads. And it cost her all of 1 for Latsrazi. And she's laughing all the way to the back. All the way to the win.
Looking at the state of the meta and the competition results, I think it's fair enough to say that the power creep is real.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I think everybody's seen that. I don't think that's even something that people can debate anymore.
It's not a dirty word.
No. And look, I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying that's just what's happened. What you'll see is that most ships come from, the vast majority of ships being flown from waves 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
And that's jump masters, your defenders, your lancers, your...
Sorry,
Yeah.
I love how pathetic defenders were before that you just referred to a defender as being a wave 7, 8, 9 ship.
Yeah.
When it's actually much older than that.
Yeah.
Which I was flying beforehand.
Yeah, I was right there. I was
actually,
right there
me
with you with Vessery.
Yeah, we were the hipster defender flyers.
So the veterans pack that the X7 came in.
Yeah.
That was wave 7?
Roughly.
0.5?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Do Aces boxes count as being part of waves? Or are they
Kind of.
standalone?
They kind of
think
sit
they
between
do.
waves. Yeah,
Yeah.
they sit between waves.
Because
Look,
I think the Heroes of the Resistance was wave 8. Hey, you'll be happy to know Ray's really good.
Ray's good.
Ray's really good.
Yeah.
I came up against it. It hurts. God, it just hurts.
Now I'm conscious, Emily, you're still there. Hopefully this isn't all kind of too kind of gobbledygookish.
No, all I'm sitting here thinking is you keep talking about is there female pilots in this game?
Yeah.
And they're basically just doing what all girls do best, causing all guys stress. I will help you out. Yeah, I'm going to keep you focused on track. I'm loving this. Why don't more girls play? Empower the women, guys. Sorry, that was probably a bit harsh. But it's
No,
not
that's. I mean, see, you can say that if you want to. I might have said making all the guy pilots better. Like that's what Manaroo. But
I think you killed Owen.
no, there's a pulse there. I've got a pulse.
It was so left field. Love it so much.
Sorry, that was all I was thinking the entire time. I was like, I just let you guys talk. You're making it sound like professional.
See, we've often said this on the show that X-Wing is often an analogy for relationships.
Yeah.
Defending.
Yeah, because actually you'd like this, Emily, because one of the defender pilots, Countess Ryad, she can multitask. Yeah. She's my waifu. Yeah, she multitasks, so you give her push to the limit, and she can get a focus, a target lock, barrel roll, and do all kinds of amazing things all at the same time.
just laughing at everyone else, just going, I'm beating you guys like hands down.
But when we get to the Rebels, the number one Rebel ship,
Oh!
Miranda.
Oh, yes! The K-Wing Miranda Dirty Bay. My Bay.
Yeah.
She's so good.
And Sabine.
Oh! Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. So with the Rebels, you're finding that by far and away in the last sort of month or so, as far as the kind of community and the meta is concerned, K-Wings with bombs. Miranda swooping in, dropping bombs, blowing up stuff, and wrecking things left, right, and centre. Sabine as her co-pilot to kind of give the extra damage and the extra bombs there as well.
How? Let me ask you a question. How do you take away things that have three natural evades plus a focus plus an evade? It's simple. They die when they move.
Yes.
It's bombs. It's amazing.
Yeah.
More of them.
Yeah. But look, some of the... As far as Rebels goes, I think the other archetype you're seeing is the Ghost with Biggs. That's becoming popular. So Biggs with a TLT, and the strategy is that the Ghost kind of floats around the edge with Biggs and just shoots stuff.
Well, with that one, is that the Ghost with the attack shell inserted?
Yes, yeah. So with Zeb, the Zeb shuttle.
So it goes up one side of the board. K turns, comes back the other side of the board the whole time, just TLTing with double TLT. It's like, I have 16 hull, deal with this.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is, boring.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Thug Life, sort of, but with,
It's with less skill.
Yeah. Is that possible?
But that's the problem.
Thug Life had this massive glaring weak spot, which like you get amongst them, it's over.
Yeah, range 1. Yeah.
What was Thug Life? That was a
Thug
build?
Life was 4 TLT Y-Wings.
Oh, get out.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, that was just...
You could fit exactly 4 TLT Y-Wings.
Oh, this is a scum thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thug Life.
Yeah.
Because it was 4 syndicate thugs with
okay.
TLT
Alright.
and the astromech that turns all their green maneuvers, so all their 3 maneuvers green.
Yeah.
So on a Y-wing maneuver dial, the 3 hard is red.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's green.
Yeah.
So they can go wherever they want. And that was tearing up the scene for months. So, but the glaring weak spot was range 1, and if you got the range correct, you would only be taking 1 at a time. So the maximum you'll ever do is take 2 damage. Oh no, But so it actually required quite a bit of skill to keep your formation when you needed them, but then once someone was amongst it, split formation, have someone like a pawn that was willing to die while the other ones were a range 2 or above.
Could you just break them up, 2 and 2?
Yes.
'Cause-
Once you do, though, however, you've lost a lot of your because if they're 2 and 2, as soon as one's there, as soon as one's amongst range 1 of 1, they're pretty much within range 1 of 2.
Yeah, that's anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of skill, whereas this one just seems to be go up one side of the board, turn around, come back.
Yeah. The current Wave 10 stuff hasn't made a splash yet, but it's maybe a little bit too soon to say. Strikers really haven't been seeing much play.
Yeah, but that makes me sad because even though I play Imperials a little bit less, I believe that if the Striker was released in the first 2 or 3 waves, it would have been a big hit. People would have loved it, but it's too late for the Striker with those stats. People look at it and you go, okay, so what you're telling me is you got 3 red, 2 green, 4 hull, no shields. What are you expecting to do with this? I can't use this.
Yeah, and in the current meta where dice variance has been reduced, anyway. But look, I think, to summarise, look, this is my personal point of view. I think the game is still diverse. Like, you're still seeing a number of different sort of squad types, but what we're not seeing
is enough rebels winning things.
Yes. And look, I would agree with it. I think the rebel toolbox is a little bit more limited, and I would
Needs more bigs.
Yeah, needs more bigs. Yeah. I would like to see the sort of older generations ships get some love. I want to see more interceptors and X-wings and A-wings and B-wings.
I want to see more X-wings and X-wing. Mm-hmm. Whoa, breaking the mold there.
Yeah. As I was saying to Lockie on the way over here, if someone wanted to play seriously, if they went and bought the core set, you wouldn't actually use any of the ships in it.
No, you really wouldn't. Where's the Mega Leader from?
Blister pack.
This is no point!
Yeah.
And the Omega Leader's in the blister pack, and Elo Asti for the Rebels is in the X-Wing blister pack.
Yeah.
And that's always the first thing I say when people tell me, what should I buy to go with it? I always say blister pack, Elo Asti, then maybe Y-Wings or whatever. I'm not the boss of you until you buy Elo Asti.
Alright. I think that's enough of that. That's time to find out about the OG Tailhead, Dengar and Manaroo.
To defeat an enemy, you must know them. Not simply their battle tactics, but their history, philosophy, art.
It is the month of February and love is in the air. Valentine's Day was at some point. And as the men of the podcast, we have forgotten to do that last time. So we're going to do it now. Love is in the air. And we're going to talk about the lovebirds of X-Wing, who is Dengaroo. Well, that's a very clever mashup of two words, Manaroo and Dengar.
It's like Brangelina.
What?
Kim Ye! Kim Kardashian and Kanye West.
Oh, I thought that was Kim Il-jung.
Kim Jong-il. Power creep is a problem he has, but it's a different kind of thing. Oh wait, no, Kim Jong-il's the dead one. Kim Jong-un.
Oh, that's it.
So, we're going to start with what is currently canon. Canonically, Manaroo doesn't exist. Which some people are a bit like, good. Most of the people who don't like Dengaroo.
So everyone who doesn't play Scum.
Yes!
No one likes that ship.
No one likes toilet seats on the table.
No.
Okay, so canonically, there isn't all that much information. He's a Corellian fighter, he's a Corellian bounty hunter, and he's entirely human. There's nothing special about him. He was old, chums with Latzrazi and Bosk and Boba Fett even, back in the Clone Wars era. And then he hung out and was with the Empire trying to go track down Han Solo, and then was also there for the Hutt cartel nonsense. But honestly, there isn't all that much information about him because the new lore hasn't really started.
I think anyone who dresses like an Egyptian mummy by choice is going to try and keep their private life secret.
Let's just disregard canonic lore because it's boring.
To heck with the rules.
Let's start again with the legends. The legend of Dengar. And he was a legend. He's got a pilot school of 9. That's the same as Han Solo. Coincidence? I think not. Han Solo and Dengar had a lovely swoop bike race back when he was introduced firstly. And he and Han Solo were rivals more than anything else. Ribbings and stuff on Corellia and the swoop bike races. Han Solo cut him off while they were doing one big final race to see who is the superior racer.
Swooperia.
Oh,
God.
No.
Yes. You can't unhear that.
So...
You should see your face.
They collectively decided to figure out who is the superior rider. And while Dengar was in the lead, so he was what would be a better pilot. Han Solo cut him off. Dengar, not knowing that Han Solo was a protagonist, went into a wall. Horrible burning. Oh, the fire. So much fire. Came out a cyborg.
Wow.
Yeah,
So he's the T-800 from the end of the first Terminator. Pipe bomb in that truck. Out comes Dengar. He's suddenly a stop-motion animated robot.
Can I just say, I like the old Han Solo because he was just a dick.
Oh, wasn't he?
He shot first.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And he swooped first.
There was no asking of questions.
No.
So
Edit that, Lucas.
So he went into this fire. It was horrible. He came out. They did some treatments on him, and they were like, "Look, bud, you kind of messed up. We're gonna make you part cyborg." And everyone was like, "That's really cool." And he was like,
We can rebuild him.
"We had the technology. We don't need more because it's canon." So he's part cyborg for when he's introduced in the movies, and he has no emotions other than mostly rage. because it was the 90s and like gritty. Let's get dark. So he was a bounty hunter for anyone for hire, and he mostly killed. There wasn't a whole lot of capturing. It's mostly just killing. Until he was demanded to capture one lovely lady by the name of Manaroo. And he captured her, and he took her to wherever she needed to go and let her go. And was like, yep, off you go. You've now been bountied. I don't know what they do with bounties. Then there was him there and what's up and all that, and he did more bounty hunting, and then he came across Manaroo again, and she disabled all the emotional baggage that he had with him.
Well, like a flick of the switch.
Pretty much.
So she turned his emotions off.
No, on.
On?
She turned his emotions on.
She taught him to love?
Pretty much.
Oh.
So, yeah. She taught him to love, and he came and he went around and he was doing stuff, but this time he could feel. And then he came back and hung out with her some more, and was like, "So, you know how I can love?" And she's like, "Yeah, well, I love you." And she's like, "Okay, let's get married."
It's like a really awkward first date. He's looking down at his feet. He's like, "So, what are we?"
That was like more like fourth or fifth date.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a bit presumptuous on the first
Well, the
date.
first date, like, she was tied up, like, it was 50 Shades of Grey Squadron Pilot all over again. All of this, I don't know. And then there was some rivalry between him and Boba Fett. There was nothing, aside from the swoop bike race, there was no really defining thing he did. Now, we talked last time about Forlorn, when Forlorn got shot in the head by Boba Fett. He had a rivalry with Boba Fett, but I think every bounty hunter had a rivalry with Boba Fett at a time. And then they kind of just got over their rivalry, and Boba Fett was the best man at their wedding. Yeah. And it's a happy ending. There's not much more to talk about. They got married, and he just quit bounty hunting because he'd had enough money, and just they hung out.
Okay, so let me get this straight.
But how did you meet?
Just imagine around the sort of the wedding table, all the family there, and there's sort of, Boba Fett's the best man. He makes his best man speech.
Are you with the bride or the groom? And then there's the bride's all like humans and earthlings, and the groom is just like horrible monsters. Yeah. Bosca's sitting there growling quietly.
I agree, Bosk. It was a nice reception.
So basically, it's some sort of weird Stockholm syndrome where he captured her and she fell in love with her captor.
Well, not really.
No, but she came back and turned his emotions back on.
So I think it was like backwards. Like he captured her, and then he fell in love with her.
Yeah.
Because she turned his emotions back on, and then she was like, "Sure."
Didn't mean to do that.
Why not?
I've got a calendar opening.
Here, I've got some tokens. You can have them.
So that's her pilot ability in the game. She's opened her heart.
Oh.
But here's the...
Because her ability is that you can pass target locks or focus tokens or anything to anybody on the board. So she's sort of like this giving, nurturing jump master.
Yeah, she's saying to her husband, "Did you remember your focus token? I knew you'd forget. Typical. Here, have mine. I am carrying this team, and you know it."
The mother of all ships.
The mother of all.
Yes, dear.
I was trying to find a picture of Manaroo after you told me that you were gonna talk about her in this segment. It's very difficult to find, but the few that I did find, she's blue.
Is she?
Abadi Abadai. She's blue.
Is she human?
No.
No, we were discussing this. We thought she might be Chiss, like Admiral Thrawn.
A tiny mind link.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have the feeling that she's of the same species as the character on the Atani Mind Link card.
Is that her?
No, I asked this question on Reddit, and it's not her.
Oh.
But that's similar.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah.
I thought she was human.
No.
Diversity. Dengar, he's all about diversity. Lovely.
It's what's inside people that matters, but some people are blue.
Well, on that bombshell, I think it's time to move on.
Our rebellion is all that remains to push back the Empire. We think you might be able to help us.
Moving right along, we're going to put our lovely guest in a position where we can talk at her, and she can talk back. Lachlan,
Sounds
questions. Hit it.
All right. Well, Emily, I think we talked a little bit the other day just on Facebook when we were arranging all this, and
Yeah.
I was asking you what got you into the game? What made you want to start playing it?
I don't know. One of my friends from church, he's like, "Hey, do you like tabletop games?" And I'm like, not really." And he's like, "No, come over and we'll play this game." And we did like an epic battle. And I was like, "Please let me fly the big ones, please." And they let me fly. I'm pretty sure it was an Imperial Raider.
Yes.
And I got to fly 2 massive ships, and I'm like, "This is amazing." Sitting there going, "Pew pew pew," and everyone thought I was so strange. I'm like, "This is awesome."
This game needs more pews.
No, everybody knows about pew pew pew.
Yeah.
So that's
Exactly.
So. Does that mean are you a bit of a Star Wars fan? Is that what made you
Yeah.
okay with it?
Yeah.
All right, that's fantastic.
A favourite Star Wars film? I have to ask the question.
Oh, I'm not sure just yet because I still haven't finished. I think 2 of them.
Okay.
Okay, which 2 are they?
Oh, I really can't remember.
Hard
It's like-
topics.
The 2nd and 3rd, I'm pretty sure, because they started making me watch them backwards, and I was like, "What are you
Yeah,
doing?"
don't. Episode 2 and 3 and 1. They don't.
Yeah, I got
exist.
told they suck.
They just go from Rogue One onwards.
I
Anything
do like
else?
Rogue One, though. Rogue One was good. Some of the characters were like,
Yeah,
But-
the characters were definitely sort of one-off. They were like, we won't be needing you again.
like, "Oh, we'll make this guy really, really cool and then kill him straight away." And you're like, "Why would you do that?"
Getting back to the game, I think Epic is my favourite mode of game. I love it because they call it cinematic, and I love it for that, especially the Raider, because you've got this great big long sort of laser stick and you're throwing lots of red dice. So after that first experience, did you try anything else after that?
Not really. We tried like smaller versions of it, so it wasn't too bad. It was just less fun because the ships were smaller, and I'm like, "Oh, I wanted to fly the big ones with lots of dice." Because we had like a 6-player game was the first one I did, and then went down to like 2 players. So then I stopped for a while.
I think Epic is a very, very strong way to get new people
to get into
the
it.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's such a eye-catching game that when you see X-Wings on the board and you see the Millennium Falcon, you're like, "That's great, let's go play with that." There's a bunch, and then there's like 10 TIE fighters, and then you stick the Tantive on there, and that's even better.
Yeah.
Or the Raider, obviously, and you want to be involved in that. You really do.
This is amazing. It's massive and so cool. And then you go down to the little one, you're like, "Oh, just been shrunk a little in the wash." But
So
yeah.
you played with the Raider. Was it that did you choose the team that you wanted to play with the Empire, or they just said, "Look, you go with this, and that'll be."
Oh, it was kind of like these guys brought their ships, so they were playing on that side, and I played with my friend's ships, and he's like, "Oh, well, we'll just work out who wants to play with which ones." So I basically got put on a side and got to choose my ship, really. That was the only good thing.
So out of the ships that you've seen, do you think that if you did get into the game, you would play Empire?
Yeah, I think I would. They do look cooler, and I don't know, they just look more fun.
No.
More fun to play with.
We can't all fly hawks, Owen.
They're so beautiful. They're so beautiful. So what would tempt you into maybe starting to play competitively, as going to the weekly tournaments or the monthly tournaments where everyone gets together and sticks 100 points on the table and flies at each other until someone's dead?
I don't know. I think for me, playing in stores and those kind of tournaments and things kind of freaks me out because everyone else is so serious. And I go in there and I'm like, "Oh yeah, just kind of like play and have fun." And then I lose and I'm like, "Oh, this is not so fun." And I get very nervous. So I start speeding up my gameplay and screwing up quite a lot more just because I'm impatient. So
Tournaments,
I think,
sorry?
yeah.
Tournaments can be a little bit that way, but we do there are stores where you can just sort of go like for example, our regular haunt is at Games Lab in the CBD on a Monday night. We have loads of casual players coming in all the time.
Yeah.
Actually, people send us messages sometimes and ask if it's okay if they play if they're new, and we say, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I found when I first started getting into tabletop, I went to a tournament. It was like the first time I played the game ever with one of my friends' decks. We were doing Destiny. And this guy's like, it's okay, I'll talk you through it. And I ended up winning. I'm like, did you just like throw that match? And he's like, no, you're actually really good. And I was like, yes.
All right.
Need a few more games like that, and then I'll just keep coming back.
Yeah. Well, definitely feel free to come by Games Lab on a Monday. I mean, you'd be able to find somebody who had a similar skill level to you and, yeah, beat them.
I wish
AKA
I could.
me.
It's way too far away. Yeah, I think distance is the only problem with all the tournaments. They're just so far away from where I am. It's a lot of effort to get there.
Where are you based?
Frankson.
There's games by the beach there.
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
Good friend of the show, Brendan Morrissey. I went to ACT with him.
That's who got me into this.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, that's right. You mean
Brendan strikes again.
by into this?
Yep.
You mean talking to us tonight? I think it was Brendan who put you in touch with us. Is that right?
And he's the one that got me into the game in the first place.
All right.
He was the one that's like, hey, come play tabletop. And I'm like, why?
Brendan. That's how the game takes another victim. Like, I can tell you, my Brendan's name is Tristan. Yeah, everybody has a Brendan.
Yes.
Yep. Brendan got my boyfriend into it, and then he got me into it, and I'm just like, stop.
Alright, so what do you think of this game? I mean, I think you were saying before you don't play a lot of tabletop games. What do you think of this game just in general?
I actually really like it. It's mainly just the fact that I'm broke because uni student, that I don't really get into it as much. But I think once I actually start having money and free time, I'll actually start getting really into it because it's really cool and really fun. And like going to tournaments and those kinds of things, it's like, yeah, you actually meet some pretty cool people. Not that I do it very often, but I'm going to try and start more.
Great.
Yeah, I think certainly for a lot of us, it's the community that has kept us going with the game. Because sometimes, with the game, you get a little bit bored, you have your ups and your downs, but certainly for me, what I've found is the community and probably the friendships I've made through that.
Yeah, definitely.
People like Brendan and others, I found the X-Wing community to be probably the best in the gaming community I've experienced.
Yeah. I definitely think out of all gaming communities, even like online and not, it's probably the best is tabletop, I definitely have to say.
Are you a big online gamer?
Not so much recently. I used to play a little bit of like lame games like Rocket League, but I never really got into those like first-person shooters and all those kinds of things. It just didn't. I was like, I like people.
But I would agree. I think I used to do a lot of online gaming as well, and I think talking to disembodied voices got a bit too strange. But also, I think everybody craves that human interaction.
Yeah.
Well, there's plenty of articles online at the moment that suggest that board gaming, especially in shops, is on a serious rise. I think because video games are great and everything, but it gets to a certain point where people want to go and hang out. And you know what it is? It's because video games are getting more advanced, but split-screen multiplayer isn't a thing anymore.
Yeah.
I think we play X-Wing because there's no such thing as having a Nintendo 64 controller each and yelling at each other for looking at your part of the screen when playing GoldenEye.
Yeah.
I think that's why we play. But as for the community, I think just a small part of the reason that we wanted to have a chat with you tonight, Emily, was because like I haven't met any girls who play X-Wing. We haven't got heaps of female players. So thought that would be an insight into the game that you could give us. Obviously, we couldn't get ourselves.
Yeah. And I spoke to one of my friends about why she doesn't play, and she's like, it's just too slow and boring. And I'm like, oh, okay then.
Clearly, she's not
find,
playing
like-
with the Batwing.
Oh, yeah. No, but I just find that some girls just don't find it as thrilling because she does online gaming.
Okay. Well,
And she finds that really fun. And I'm just like, but this is cooler, and there's like little figures, and they're amazingly detailed. I'm like, why don't you like this?
Because I know...
She just doesn't like it. I'm like, okay then.
I mean, gaming, electronic gaming, online gaming, it's got that dopamine effect. The dopamine's always getting tapped.
Always doing something,
all the time.
Yeah.
It's
Kind of like you can just play by yourself as well.
Yeah.
In most games now, so it's like, move faster.
So back to what you were saying before about maybe not being as interested in going to the stores or playing in the tournaments. Do you think does that have sort of a guys club element to it, or am I sort of making a big deal out of that? Or...
No, because it kind of does. I go to any tournaments really, and I'm like, oh, cool, I'm the only girl. This is fun. They're like, well, if you want to be around girls, go play Magic.
Oh.
What?
I think that was what they said, like, most girls that they know play Magic or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's boring.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
No, it's funny,
I've seen a few girls playing Magic, but then I've also seen a few girls with their boyfriends, and their boyfriends play Magic. And I was like, maybe it's just that they get dragged along, not that they play.
Have you experienced any of that sort of gatekeeping, like, hey, you don't belong here?
Not really. Most of the guys I've met while playing tabletop, they're kind of like, oh, cool, this is a new person. And they've like, some will stare at you funny, but then you realize they're just the ones that can't talk to girls in general. Yeah. So you're like, okay, that makes sense. They're just strange with everyone.
You can also find they're actually the ones that can't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they stare at us too.
Yeah. I'm just far too good looking.
Thought it was just me. Ruined my specialness. But no, for the most part, everyone's really friendly. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, if you want to get in on this, go for it. And it's really good because I'll be like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. And they're like, well, yeah, we can give you a hand or let you know that you probably shouldn't do that. And I'm like, okay, I'll just revoke that move.
Maybe don't go onto the asteroid.
Yeah. Exactly. But
one of the things we've been talking about offline a bit is the diversity of the game and how we could increase that. So from your perspective, what do you think would make it, I suppose, if you like, more enticing or more, make it reduce any barriers to entry, apart from the fact that, there's a price to the ships and everything?
Yeah, because that's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it's just the complexity of the gameplay, really. The fact that you have to sit there, make your move, wait for everyone else to make their moves. It's just the fact that the gameplay is just really slow. I think that's the only thing that really draws people away. I know that was one of the things that pushed me away from doing it more with my study, because I just didn't have time to just wait and wait. It was really fun, but it's just all the waiting, really, that just kind of kills it.
Yeah. It's a bit like chess.
Yeah, definitely.
Except you don't have 20-second timers.
Yeah.
You have as long as you need to. Yeah.
That'd be good. Introduce timers.
Oh, yeah. Egg timers. Needs more egg timers.
Just have them have like the little clicking things for their moves, and it's like, I will win. Yeah. Slowest time adds extra damage points or something. Sorry, not slowest time. Fastest time, not slowest time.
If you can't if you can't set your dial in 30 seconds, you take a crit.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Cop that, Omega Leader.
I want to ask, what is your favourite ship?
Oh, I don't know. I definitely have to say the Millennium Falcon is definitely the correct answer. One. I definitely have to say that's cool. But there's so many other ships, I just haven't seen them all yet. I just want to go somewhere that has them all and just like play and fiddle with them all and then figure it out.
Mike here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Brother Mike of the Church of Defender does own every ship there is.
Yes, and in multiples of them.
Mostly as sacrifices to his defenders.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and as a consequence, my child won't have an education, but as...
Tell you what, though, she is going to
have a
be
good
an
education in
ace X-Wing player.
Oh, she's gonna win worlds. She's gonna be fantastic.
See, what are you talking about? No girls playing X-Wing.
I was going to say, before we wrap up, no one's going to wrap us up, and this is for you and for anybody, at Games Laboratory in the CBD, we have the regular Monday nights, and generally we have a lot of people there. I spend a lot of time actually helping new people with the game, so it's very, very sort of newbie, casual, friendly.
So if you're ever free on a Monday night, Emily, come and hang out with us.
I can never get that far into the city. It'd take me like an hour, 2 hours.
Oh,
That's a shame.
oh, well.
I'll make the trip one day.
Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah.
Woo! By the time
Number
you've
one to the
forgotten who I am.
Well, I think it's time to move on. It's a bit of a dry argument. Time to move on to the cantina. Finally! About time. I have a drink in hand. Mike, you're with me. Lachlan, you're with me. Emily, you're with me. What is that in front of you?
Okay, so we've got like just a standard Destiny deck. So it's got... I play with a Stormtrooper and Kylo Ren.
Whoa, before you even do this, what is Destiny?
Destiny.
That's not X-Wing.
Oh, no.
Where are the spaceships?
Those are very odd-looking spaceships. They're all square.
Yeah, I know, and people-like, and got a few fancy dice going on, some red ones and blue ones.
Or something.
No, so Destiny is basically just like a really cooler version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Collectible card game. And basically you got a deck of 30 cards with all your upgrades and events and those kinds of things, so you can just keep playing them. And you're basically just going to try and kill the other person's characters as quickly as you can without dying yourself. And you can have as many characters as you want. Obviously, you've got to only have them up to 30 character points, so you can play with about 3 different characters, or 2 if you're really boring.
So is it a little bit like X-Wing, like a hero character is going to cost you a few points, but a generic plain Stormtrooper, you could have multiples because they're cheap?
Yeah, definitely. So you can have, like, elite characters, but most of the generic characters, like hired gun and those kinds of things, they're just like standard. You can only have 1 dice with them. But if you have an elite character like Elite Leia, she costs more points if you have her with an extra dice. So you can have 2 dice if she's elite, 1 if she's not. And yeah, it's basically just pair them up as best you can. You can have as many colors as you like, given which characters you have, or you can just play with 1 solid color.
These are some weird shaped dice. I mean, all of our dice are clearly 8-sided, superior side of dice. But these are 6-sided dice. What?
Yeah, they're actually
how
really
do they
nice.
work?
They're like plastic, but they're a really nice, like, heavy-ish plastic. So they're really good. They got, like, the symbols on them that match the cards, so you can clearly pick out which dice is which. They're all individual and specific, so they've all got different damages, or some have no damage as well. Different amounts of shields and all those kinds of things on them. So roll all the dice and see what you get and have some fun, really. It's really annoying though when you start playing and you just keep rolling out things that just aren't useful, like no damage whatsoever.
How
That's
often
when
do
you
you
start
roll the
hating
dice?
So you basically roll the dice every time you activate a character and then take them away as you claim them or put them into play. So you'll roll like 4 dice maybe on 1 character and you'll claim the 2 damage, and then you can't use them till the next round. Once every character is exhausted and you're both past your turns, then you set it all back up again, activate your characters again and roll your dice. Or if you're really evil, you'll have one of those cards in your deck that you'll pull out and you have like Disturbance in the Force and everyone has to re-roll all their dice. And
Every
it's so
game
annoying.
has a
Yeah.
There's no
somewhere
escape.
it's like you've got Scramble, so you can just re-roll, make the other person re-roll their dice. It's only bad when they re-roll and they re-roll out more damage than they had before, and you're just like, I just helped you. It's like the worst time ever. But most of the time it's like, yes, I got rid of all your damage, and they're just like, I hate you so much. But they're actually, you can have games between like 15 to 50 minutes, depending on how quickly you roll out the damage or how quickly you go through your turns, really.
Is that part of the attraction? Because you mentioned before with X-Wing that sometimes it's a little bit slow, but it's a faster pace, something which just makes the game a little bit more enjoyable or engaging.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing is, it's like, it's a little bit tricky to when you start, because then you've got to learn, okay, this is what each symbol on the dice means, and you can only take one action per turn. So it's like, I can activate a character, and that's one turn, and then you go to do something else, and everyone's like, stop, it's my turn now. And you've got to keep switching, which is the difficult part, because you can only do one thing unless you've got something that's got ambush, that means you can take 2 turns at once. But still, it's one thing and then one other thing, and that's it.
So
and
there's
they're not
no real bonus to have a bunch of characters. Like, you couldn't say, hey, I'm gonna play 6 normal stormtroopers. That way I can't.
Yeah, it is difficult, because then you've got to activate each individual character, and that's like 6 turns. So you can only have 3 of them, but just because of you can only go up to 30 character points, and stormtroopers are about 9 or something like that.
Can I ask a question? So, the game's become incredibly popular in a short period of time.
Yeah.
I've seen in the X-Wing community, a lot of X-Wing players love it because it's like, some of them call it like a palate cleanser, or if they just don't want to have a full X-Wing game, they can just sit down and have a quick 15-20 minute game.
Yeah. It's really good, because I created my first deck. I was like, yeah, I'll just chuck all these things together. And I played with it. And I played with it for like a couple months before I actually decided maybe I should actually think about what I've got in here. Because as long as you get your characters in that work well together, or even if you just think, oh yeah, these guys are cool together, and then just put cards in, obviously, that match that. You can only have heroes with heroes and villains with villains, with villain cards and all those kinds of things. It's about the only drawback, and the colours. But besides that, it's really simple.
Okay.
And then once you play one game to like get used to the gameplay, you can basically just go straight out and just go, yeah, I know what I'm doing now. And just whip it out as fast as you can. Yeah, so my first game, I was sitting in a tournament going, hi, nice to meet you. I don't actually know how to play this. Let's do this. I learnt this about an hour ago. And he's like, yeah, no, fine. Let's go. Let's do this. And ended up winning and then lost every game after that. But I don't care.
So the other question I have is, one thing which I wouldn't say puts me off, but knowing my personality, as in I'd get really addicted to it, is the fact that you buy booster packs.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you're getting.
Oh, it sucks so bad when you just keep getting the same thing. But then you'll have those rare chances where I bought a booster and then went back and I bought a box after that. So just bought a whole, like, it's like 36 of them or something.
What, 36 boosters?
Yeah, in one box. You can buy a whole box if
Oh,
you're
God.
really ambitious. I did that in Canada. It was like $120.
Oh, God.
It was Boxing Day sales. And then also the fact that everything's cheaper in Canada because the wage is lower and stuff. So I was like, sweet. It ended up costing me about like $130. It's normally $160 down here. I was like, yes. I ended up getting a Darth Vader from the one that I pulled out of another box.
Oh.
And then another Darth Vader in the actual box. I ended up with 2 Darth Vaders. I'm like, do you know how hard these are to find?
So is that you've done the equivalent of getting 2 Charizards somehow?
Yeah, basically. That was how
the only
amazing
other
it
card
was.
game I know anything about.
But yeah, and then you can just obviously just do trades with everyone. Go, oh, you have a card I like. I did that with one of the guys. I'm like, oh, that character looks cool. Can I trade you something for it? And he's like, yeah, I want that card. And you're like, sweet. Make sure the transaction is like balanced. So I think I was giving him a card that was more expensive, so he gave me a few other common cards, and it's pretty easy to trade. Most people are really like generous or don't really mind, especially because everything's just so common because of boosters and stuff. So it's actually not too expensive to get into, like, in the first place.
Aside
But then once you get addicted, it starts getting expensive. But then you can just trade and sell cards and get rid of what you don't want. So in the end, you kind of earn your money back. Because I know Brendan does that. He gets, like, all the boosters. I think he's made and sold 2 complete sets already And that's basically covered the costs of building them in the first place, so
Fair enough.
it's not too bad. And it's really fun. I go up to my friends and I'm like, hey, do you want to play a game with me? And it's really, really simple to get your friends into.
How long do the games normally last?
Well, in tournaments, they run them for about 50 minutes.
50?
50.
Yeah, 50.
Oh.
So just under an hour. But like I said, it just depends on how quickly you play. Some people like to really think about their turns, and you just sit in there going, make your move.
Yeah.
But other times, yeah, like I said before, I've played a game in 15 minutes because I was like just smashing it out everywhere. I ended up losing, but it was still really fun. So it doesn't matter how quickly you play it, really. And the setup's pretty simple. You've got your deck, you place out your cards, like your characters, and that's about it.
That's a sign of a good game. If you can lose and say, let's play again,
Yeah,
that's a sign of a good game.
That's how I play X-Wing.
Yeah, I'm keen. I'm curious to try it, just because everybody's playing it.
Yeah, most people should have like 2 decks. So even if you just find someone, because most people, I'm assuming, should have a hero and a villain deck. So if you go up and be like, hi, do you have 2 decks? Do you want to play? Teach me how to do this? Most people are pretty willing.
Okay, my mission is to give it a go and I'll report back.
Well, aside from all the lovely topics that we have discussed tonight, Lachlan, do you have anything more to report?
I don't have anything to report, but if we're at the shout out point, when I threw a few messages out on social media to try and find a guest, was very fortunate to find Emily, who we've had a great time talking to, but one person who responded to that was on the forum, went by the anonymous-ish name Force Majeure, and just said they really like our podcast and look forward to each episode. So I hope this one was enjoyable for you, whoever you are, anonymous friend. And
This is
also-
for you, Force Majeure.
and wanted to dedicate this week's Holonet newsreel to Adam Bunn, who, if I'm reading this correctly, is in the Royal Australian Navy. Hope you like this one, Adam.
Awesome, thanks, madam.
Mike, and to you.
No real shout-outs at the moment. Just a reminder, Games Lab, Monday nights in the CBD. Come one, come all. Friendly, open, especially for casual players.
Emily, thank you for being on the show. Is anyone you would like to say hello to?
Not really. Probably just Brendan to say thanks for giving me this opportunity. And thanks for you guys for having me. It was great.
Well, if we were going to ask as well, if you enjoyed yourself in a couple of weeks, if you managed to get a few more games of X-Wing in, would you want to talk to us again and tell us how they went?
Yeah, sure, definitely. I'll definitely come back.
All right.
Fantastic, thank you.
Well, and since you're an Imperial player as well, I was sorting through my cards the other day and I found I had an extra X7 upgrade card for the Defender. So I thought later on, if you tell me if you tell me somewhere to post it, I'll send that out to you. And when you get it, you can get yourself a Defender, and that'll really bulk your Imperials.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
That's
experience
awesome.
the majesty of the Defender.
I have a spare Defender. I will give you a Defender and an X7 Defender.
There we go.
There we go.
I feel so
Special
special.
And for me, my shout-outs are just 2 shout-outs in general. Apparently we do lots of shout-outs, and shout-outs are great. So shout-out to shout-outs.
Woo.
I'm shouting out to you.
Without
Feel
you
the
shout
love.
out, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah. This has been our 6th episode, our loving Valentine's special. Thank you everyone for listening to us. We've been one hell of a pilot. With us tonight has been Emily, who is one hell of a pilot. Thank you, and good night.